And the story that the Amazing Digital Circus is based on, the character who understands how everything works ends up killing the others. And yeah, JAX has already reached that point. And you might already know that the Amazing Digital Circus is based on the story I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which was confirmed by the creator Gooseworks herself. And yeah, we can confirm it, we've seen strong influences of it in the circus. But here's where it gets serious. Does this mean that in episode 9, the grand finale, JAX is gonna have some kind of sacrifice to save the others? Maybe it's not about literally saving them so they can leave the circus and return to real life, but instead ending their digital existence in the most brutal way. Because let's be honest, what if there was never a way out? What if there's no real body waiting for them in the real world? Well, everything points to JAX doing something to free the others. Not as a hero, but as someone who understood the truth before everyone else. And in this video, we're gonna explore why JAX will sacrifice himself in episode 9 of the Amazing Digital Circus. To start, we need to understand why JAX. You've probably seen that a lot of people have been talking about how JAX has been distancing himself from the group as the episodes go on. Especially with the image they gave us for episode 9, where he's shown more separated from everyone. And many connected this to Ted, the character from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, who realizes there was never any escape and ends up doing the unthinkable to free the others. But I think there's a lot more that supports this theory that JAX will be the one to free everyone. If we remember, not long ago there was a controversy with Gooseworks, because in a podcast she said that the main protagonist of the Amazing Digital Circus were Pomni and JAX, and a lot of people didn't like that. But now that we're reaching the final episode, and after analyzing episode 8, it starts to make a lot of sense. Mainly because throughout the episodes, JAX went from being sarcastic and basically a bully to becoming more and more distant and acting stranger. It's like he's slowly losing his mind because of everything he's been through in the circus. And I think that after the conversation with Kinger in episode 8, JAX finally confirmed what he already suspected, that there's no way out. And this is exactly what happens with Ted in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Over time, Ted realizes that the AI keeping them trapped manipulates everything, constantly making them suffer and doesn't allow them to die. After everything they go through, he reaches a simple conclusion. The only way to escape is to die. If you look at the episodes, JAX has become more and more apathetic. He started saying colder things, like calling the others his toys, saying he doesn't care about anyone, or when he dared Pomni to shoot him. At that point, he stops caring about what happens. To him, nothing is real. Everything works like it's just a game. And this isn't just something we noticed. A lot of fans have also pointed out that JAX acts like nothing is real, like everything is just part of the game. But in the more recent episodes, we also saw that he does remember his friends and that deep down, he still has emotions. And that changes the context. Because those attitudes aren't because he feels nothing, but because he probably already knew what was happening and didn't want to accept it. It's even possible that he talked about this with the other characters before they abstracted, and that stayed with him. There's also something important. JAX, despite everything he's been through, he hasn't abstracted. Even after hearing the one thing he didn't want to accept the most. Also, we see him later being used by Kane as floss, and he still endures it without abstracting. Even after that, he keeps walking with the group. That points to something very clear. JAX knows something that the others don't. And with that said, get ready, because now comes the most important part. How will JAX's sacrifice happen? In the story of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, Ted understands that there's no escape and that there never was. To stop the suffering, he reaches a simple conclusion. The only point is to kill the others. because the AI doesn't allow them to die and keeps them alive to torture them forever. During a moment when the AI isn't paying attention, Ted kills them all quickly. And with that, in theory, he frees them. But he stays behind, and when the AI realizes what he did, it punishes him. It turns him into a being that can't speak or move, and leaves him suffering like that forever. That's why Ted becomes colder and more logical over time. He's the one who ends up making the most important decisions. Something similar to JAX. The difference is that JAX keeps more distance. He became colder and prefers his own space to think. And in episode 8, when they were talking to Kinger, he was the first one to say he would distract Kane so he wouldn't hear them. And that's not random. JAX already acts like someone who knows he has to do something. So if we compare the story of I Have No Mouth with the show, the question is clear. How is JAX gonna free the others? Well, there are several possibilities. The first one is the most brutal, and the one closest to the original story. JAX could find a way to make the characters stop existing. Maybe by causing them to abstract. And actually, since the very beginning in the pilot episode, there's been a theory that abstraction is the only way out. Another possibility is in Kane's office. We saw several cables that there could be the neural data connections of the characters, and this can be supported when Kinger uses the computer to pause Kane and access the files. There, we see that all the characters have a neural scan, which could make JAX's sacrifice even darker, because this detail from Kinger implies that the characters might just be copies, and that no one is waiting for them in the real world. Meaning that there's no body to return to. By the way, this is a theory we already talked about in a previous video, so go check it out if you haven't. Another option is that they use a computer to delete themselves one by one, just like Kinger deleted Kane. And the one who would have to do it is JAX. The problem is that when he tries to delete himself, he might not be able to. The system could prevent it, or even worse, Kane could return from residual files. Remember that when you delete something on a computer or a phone, it's not completely gone. There are always residual files that can be recovered. And this connects to something we already saw. JAX was the first one to offer himself to distract Kane while the others moved forward. This fits someone who already accepted his role. But we can't forget what Kinger said. There's no exit because it was never created. So one possibility is that Kinger, with the help of another computer, could create an exit from the digital circus. But Kane could return from those residual files. Or even another AI, like the one we saw in the files Kinger accessed, could be the one that prevents everyone from escaping. Something like the true villain of the Amazing Digital Circus. Kane was just a puppet, and the real villain could be another artificial intelligence, the one that would basically be AM from the villain from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Some people also believe that Bubble is that other AI, the real villain. In fact, we already have a theory on the channel where we explain why people think Bubble is a virus, which could connect perfectly with this. I leave it here in case you haven't seen it. So, when it comes to escaping or creating a new exit, JAX could be the one who distracts or stops that AI while the others cross, or do whatever they need to do. And in that scenario, JAX wouldn't make it out. He would stay there forever, which could even set up a season 2 where the characters try to come back and save him. But anyway, what do you think? Do you think JAX will be the one who sacrifices himself? Or do you have any other idea of how they could escape the digital circus? Or if escaping was never possible at all? We'll be reading you in the comments.